Okay, everybody, I think we are live again. Let me know if you can hear me. Hold on, let me shut my door before the kids start screaming and you just hear them fussing at each other. Oh my gosh. Okay, that break was very good. I had some food, I did some dishes, and I actually went back and did a little bit of work in the map that I wanted to show you real quick before we switch over. But just to get everyone caught up, see. Hold on, let me make sure this is actually working. Switching over here. Going here. Playlist. Where's my playlist? This is stream number 6. Hello, cute Jameis, you are here. Okay. Okay, so someone is here, so we are live. This is all working. We're doing good. Okay. Okay. So we have 3 more streams. We have this one, which we're going to work on the temple map. Hello, welcome back, Emma. We have the next one, which is when my friend Phil, who is a, another fantasy writer, is going to join us, and we're going to like work on some speed map or like high level map concepts for her capital city, and kind of talk through her needs and stuff, which I think will be a lot of fun. Just because like I've never actually helped someone else out with like map stuff before. I don't know. So we'll have fun and everyone can throw in some ideas, and like, she'll have a different situation and needs for her city that we'll be able to talk about. And then the last stream will be probably trying to wrap up the maps we've started as much as we can, unless we're all going crazy and we just want to do like globe painting or something weird. Um, uh, Greg is assuming the role of the resident honorary civil engineer of the group. Yes, very much. That is your role here. But yes, so, and the last stream may or may not be joined by Ross. He hasn't decided yet. It'll depend on whether or not he gets some stuff finished, but he's going to try to show up and provide some fun commentary as we wrap some things up. So that's kind of where we are. Yes, let me show you what we've did so far and what I did between last stream and this stream, and then we'll switch over to the temple and talk about it a little bit. But we have our docks. You can see I filled this area of the like garden intensive agriculture / like maybe some like trough plots and stuff in there. I want to do something different in this little interior stretch, but I don't know what that's going to be yet. I colored some of this more in and added some more shapes. That's mostly what I did, other than fix the layers that some things were on, because I found it was broken. So I did some tweaking. Oh, that's exciting. So it's 5 p.m. in Europe. However, tomorrow is the Polish Independence Day, 11th of November. So it is a day off. It is also the end of World War I in Europe. That's really cool. I didn't actually know that. I can claim typical American ignorance of most things, but I know some of them. I know, like, the 5th of November. I think it's the 5th of November. I'm aware of that one. A couple of those other ones. We're drawing the atmospheric pressure in summer. That's exciting. We had some breakfasts. Yes. I hope everyone is fed and watered and ready to go. Or dinner, fed yourself lunch, a meal of some forms. Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true. We have Veterans Day tomorrow here in the US too. That is a thing. I don't have work off for it though. But we'll do something nice at work. So yeah. Let's see. Okay, actually, real quick before we jump to the other one, I'm going to leave this map open too, but we are going to be working on this temple district. I'm a happy tree, watered and fed. Brilliant. Yes, we are all happy little trees. Thank you, Bob Ross. Yes, this temple district or temple complex is going to be very, very important for my story. It is basically the heist location that my book is working towards. So like they have to commit a heist, perform a heist in this temple. And it is a very interesting, it's got some interesting story mechanics, and it's also a lot older than a lot of the remaining stuff in the city. Like there'll be bits and pieces, but like it hasn't really been touched or maintained much since then. So we'll have to think about that. But let me, we do not need this map anymore. Let me create a new project. which we'll just do my normal custom size. Move this over here. We'll call this, I don't know if I've actually named it yet, but we'll call it Temple Complex. We'll spell it correctly even. Oh, you can't see me doing this. I'm creating the thing. I forgot that you can't see it. It's fine. Create. So there we have that. Let me save this. Temple Complex. Save. Okay. So we're going to want a bunch of starting layers. We'll kind of do a rough layout layer. We'll do a rough key starting layer. Although I don't even know if we probably won't actually need a key for this. I don't think. I think it'll be pretty self-explanatory. But we'll start there. And Temple looks amazing already. Thank you, thank you. Oh, November 19th is the Puerto Rican Discovery Day. Okay, very cool. Very cool. Okay, so let me... Let's start with a really, really rough copy of the temple that we have here. And we can go back and change the temple on this map to match what we want it to be. I am not in any way beholden to it. We can change that layout. But let's just give us a really rough, like, let's go with a light blue color, a light blue gray. Let's make it kind of big. Yeah. So we have, maybe rough sort of thing, gates. Over here we have a couple of intersections. And again, we don't need to hold to this, but let's just have it here so we know what it looks like. Smash it with a comment, then rebuild from the smoking ashes. Spilled. I don't know, whatever. That's super rough, like... Yeah, and then we have, like, some... These are, like, elevation markers, I guess. Kind of. Just to give us a rough idea. So then... And she's done! No, we're not done. We're not done. I'm very curious to hear more about your magic system. I love that you're using chemistry. Yeah, I'm very weird in the way I use magic in my fantasy worlds, and I can't have soft magic systems. They can be soft-ish for how the people are looking at it, but like in order for me to be able to think of how it would interact with the world and how it would impact society and what my characters can and cannot do and the limitations, I have to really, really understand just thinking about how everything interacts, like the rules, the limitations. And it's gotten more intense every story I do where I'm like, okay, like this is kind of the limitations of the magic where I can kind of understand the like physics of it and I can expand on it really easily. But I can't have just like vague magic. Like I just can't. So when I wanted to do like a potion system and a spell system, which I feel like typically in books, those tend to be like really, really soft in terms of what the magic can actually do. Like you say words and basically anything can happen. And there's always like weird stuff and like potions are always like, I struggle to wrap my mind around that. Yes, the TED Talk. But yeah, so I basically came up with a whole potion system based off, different types of elements being in the different plants. And I won't go into it too much because it's actually a plot point kind of figuring it out. Like they don't actually understand it very well, but like, let's just say every single thing you do to these things impacts both the like elemental interplay of the objects as well as they have these like special features that are interacted by the elemental attributes of the specific like plant or ingredient, and you can, based off preparation, you can adjust them and combine them in different ways. And there's like different types of combining things to where they're either like additive or actually combine the effects. And like, it's a whole thing. It's very complicated. I have very, very many pages. Yes, the author need to know versus the reader just needs to be entertained. Exactly. I have to know everything. It's very complicated. But also because everyone in my story is like a super nerd, like I call my story Six of Crows, but with nerds. While they don't understand everything, like my main character is literally trying to research how potions work and trying to figure out ways to like make them work. Translation of the spell language is something that's still ongoing. So it's like the mechanics of it are very important for plots and stuff. I always feel like kindred spirit. Can't wait to read these stories when they're done. Me too. I can't wait to read it when it's done too. That'd be great. Okay, so let's look at this. I'm gonna make another layer real quick, and this is just, I'm gonna call it, okay, open up the thing for me. There we go. We're gonna call it function. Yeah, okay. And here we'll pick a different color. We'll pick a purpley color, and we're gonna kind of write the little functional features that I need in here. So the most important thing is that this place is closed off. It is not supposed to be generally accessible. So like, we'll just put little X's here and say very restricted. Restricted. That's very important because essentially this complex way back when was essentially used by the like secret society of the nation government area, whatever. Like it was their main place where they did their magic that no one else could see. They may or may not have been doing increasingly corrupt things. Who knows what secret societies do? But this is like secret society HQ headquarters. Yeah, exactly. You called it. So the key building is that there is going to be a temple that is sealed off through a combination of magical and other means that we won't get into because figuring that out is literally the plot of my book. But there will be temple. So like right now we have that here, but there will be some form of temple. And then there would have also been other buildings in here. And I think there's a level of, I've been trying to figure out how much of this facility, this complex would still be used nowadays. Again, it's very close to the palace and the administrative center, so it kind of makes sense if they did more private stuff here. If I switch over to the Sanadovka map, so this little green area right here, that academy is where they teach you know, the witches that are studying, but also where they do some of the higher level like translation work and stuff like that. And basically just do all the work for the two sections of the, or ministries of the government. There's like the magic, general magic ministry, which includes like the witches and stuff. And then there's like the ritual side of it that would have existed before magic disappeared. So that stuff that's like a little bit more superstitious is working back in real magic in it again, but there's like competing ish ministries there. But the proximity of this temple, I don't think it would be overly surprising if they maybe kept some of the more secret stuff in there, because again, you know, there would still be books in there. There would be like, maybe that's a super extra secret storage place, because they don't want anyone that doesn't have access to it to access like grimoires and other like artifacts and texts and stuff like that. So I'm thinking it might make sense for them to have some level of being in there still, you know? Maybe not the whole thing, maybe not the actual like inner temple ring, but I could see like this side here, these orange buildings perhaps being like, you know, like you would maybe have keepers that maintain the text and like maintain the facilities and stuff so that they could research it and stuff. Yeah, sentry, like sentries like that. And then maybe like some of the highest level, I guess, authorities in the magical ministry would maybe come in here and do some of their work here. Or maybe even the translation work happens in here and they don't bring the like untranslated grimoires out of this facility. Could maybe be a way it works. Something like that. So I like the idea of there being like, there needs to be sentries, right? That's a thing that needs to happen. So like, you know, sentry sentry. And there would also be, yeah, I know, I keep trying to not say minister of magic, but like, it is a ministry and it is the magical ministry. It's the ministry of magic, but not like that. It's sort of like that. It's fine. It's fine. But also you'll have all of the keepers of these temples in the complex, and I imagine these to almost be like, not like monks, but like, they're maybe more restricted to this area because it's super secret. So maybe they like live here, sort of like monks, and they just maintain everything and maintain the books, and like they're not academics per se, but they're keepers. Like there'll be some order of combination of keepers and sentries that maintain it. It's okay, you're allowed to say it. I don't want to say it. If anything, we'll call it the Ministry of Magic stuff. Maybe. I don't know. It's not what it's actually called. Like it's complex. But yeah. So I'm thinking that would make sense. We have the section of it that's still in use. The section of it that's like completely forbidden. Other than like the keepers and the sentries making sure people stay out of this area. And that's sort of the vibes we're going for. Because there have been attempts by people to open the temple, because in theory, the core information that the secret society used to have, like most of their books, the stuff that could actually be used to fully understand everything, and what went down in the past, is all in that temple. So like there's been a lot of attempts to open the temple in the past that have gone very, very poorly, and has caused like a lot of people to die. Like there's been like magical after like traps and things that like, I don't know, like maybe like it caused like a wave of like energy that like messed with part of the city or something. Yeah. So like in theory, this temple is incredibly important for their people because it has like the history of their people in it. It has some artifacts in it that are incredibly important, but they haven't had access to. Things that could, in theory, the return of could, restore the. Oh wait, hold on a second. I need to move my face. There we go. Would restore the stability of the country, especially in a time where they're about to be invaded and occupied. So that's sort of why it's very forbidden, is both because they need to protect it and because they don't want people causing like very dangerous, devastating, like magical like effects to happen, whatever. And then also just the control of knowledge and information that's over here. So that's the vibes. And also the invading forces will be wanting to blow all this up, because they're very anti-magic, and this is sort of socially it's very important, or societally, the temple and everything, like that thought that they might one day get access to this stuff again. So there's this fear that the occupiers are going to come in and just like wipe this part off the map in the temple. Plot background so that everyone has the context we need here. Okay. So I think the most important parts here that we're going to want to work with is probably going to be the actual temple itself, which I have some vague ideas. Let me just add a vague layer so that you guys kind of understand what I'm picturing here. But like something where you have this sort of I guess vibe, right? Where you have this like stone column with these like giant arches, and these are all like open to air, and then most of the temple structure is actually underground. Like there might be some stuff above ground, but for the most part, it might be, I don't know, whatever, above ground. And then same thing up here. That's sort of what I'm picturing here for this. Put in a priest hole. What is a priest hole? Is that like one of those escape or hidden hidey places where they can like hide if there's invaders or something, or ways they can get out. Yeah, but that's sort of the what I'm picturing here for this temple. And I need there to be some buildings in it. So maybe this is that's the inner part of the temple, and around it is more facilities to get into this part of it. So let's try. Whatever, we'll just leave it whatever. Okay, so let me switch to a slightly smaller. How small is that? That's probably okay. So, during the Reformation of England, the downfall of the Catholic Church, priests would hide in secret areas. Yeah, I think there'd probably be lots of secret areas, and also this area was again, it was previously ran by a secret society, so there's going to be lots of traps in secret areas and stuff that they don't even fully understand yet. So I think that would make sense. Let's resize this a little bit. Put it there, I guess. Deselect. Okay. And then I'm going to call this layer here draft complex lines. Okay. And then what I think we want here is just there'd probably be some sort of wall around it. There'd probably be a base layer, maybe this is the second story up or something, with maybe a bit of a wall around it. So if we wanted to do trying to decide how organic these shapes would be versus straight lines. If they would have had it be really they tried to make it very symmetric and all that stuff. I lean towards maybe not. But let's just do something like that, and we'll erase the back part as we go. But let's say we have something like this. That is a wall of some form. When they were built, they would have been influenced by nature, not like the present time. Yeah, there definitely would have been a lot more of that, for sure. But so let's just say, we have the outer wall is pretty organic, so the inner should match. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So if this is our inner wall, or not even the wall, this could be part of the building itself. I keep going back and forth on whether or not I want to try to draw this 3D or top down. I feel like it'd be helpful to attempt to draw it 3D, but I'm really bad at doing that, so everyone will have to bear with me a little bit. But yeah, so let's say that the building has more of a base here. Let's start with that. And let's say that, there would be some pieces coming off of it. That we'll figure out how roofs would work. Maybe have some sort of, I don't know, thing there. Maybe have this come out so here. Some sort of entrance hall type thing. And then get maybe some level doors. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But say there's something like this, right? Where you have, this is your base. And then on top of that, then you have this big tower of sorts, which I feel like we can make even bigger. Let's have that come down like this. And maybe it's, well, let's make those slightly smaller just so it's a little bit less intense. But you have these big arched pieces. This is kind of hard to see, but this is all the draft layer, right? Something like that. And then on the other side, you would have, you know, the continuation of these things. You know, we have the building like that. And then maybe we have a ring around the building that would be, is there a practical purpose of the tower or purely ornamental? So a lot of the top of it is going to be ornamental, and also like more ritualistic, symbolic, whatever. So like I imagine like they might have rituals in the inside of this, that level right there that's going to be mostly open, like almost like a open courtyard. It's not technically a courtyard because there's like a roof over it, but like, you know, it's sort of an open air area. Like that might be a popular place for like rituals and stuff. And then there might be like a level slightly higher up that would have, you know, some sort of windows. And then maybe another layer up top of, you know, the big arching windows that are open. And then you'd see those on the other side, maybe. I don't know, something like that, right? And then maybe another layer up here. And then the top would be like, you know, it would be protected up there, like a place to view things, sort of, maybe. And then maybe this would be like kind of set down on this top story, so you have like that protective layer to keep people from looking in, sort of thing. So like maybe we have something like that, which is the actual temple bit. Let me, I feel like something like this would make sense, and maybe even add a couple of little walls or buildings along the walls around this. And maybe we have, let me look up, I have a bunch of printed out things down here that I'm using as reference photos for various bits and bobs. Okay, so let's say maybe we have, we'll try and make this a little bit more organic feeling. Maybe we have a big gate. Of some form, I don't know. Some sort of gate. Would numerology play a role in society? I have been thinking about that a little bit, and I don't currently have a strong reason to incorporate something like that. I'm sure there would have been, like, you know, but given the connection to nature and the organicness of it, like, I'm not sure how pronounced it would have been to compared to some other societies. So my inclination right now is to just sort of, you know, leave it as is to an extent. Like, let's say these giant gate, and maybe something like that. And maybe, you know, maybe it has some sort of little actual roof to it. I'll figure out a better way to draw that later, but some sort of roof to it. I don't know. Just go along with it. which would, wow, this looks pretty awful. It's fine. This is our super draft layer. Something like that, right? Where you have a gate, you have this inner building. Maybe we have like another building back here. And then that's like our inner temple area, maybe. So then at that point, like that's the building, right? And I imagine the like underside of the temple would probably fill that whole thing. So like that is what we would call the temple itself. So then if we wanted to build in, given the openness of the temple, it makes me wonder what would have happened if Stonehenge continued to grow / be built upon. Yeah, I mean, you never know. Like, you never know, or you never also know what it did actually look like before. It's very old. Druids meet Roman architects. Yeah, some vibes like that for sure. Okay, so then the places where the outer wall met with the cliff side, which is going to be like here, and we'll say like over to here. I'm going to just draw that roughly in. And then we'd have, I don't think we'd have crenellations because again, that's just like backing up against the cliff, sort of to catch like any, or not like cliff, like it's more of like a hill, but to catch anything that were to fall down, like rock wise, or just provide a little bit of stability there. So we have that. Then we have this part's the hill down. So let's do, let me think. There would probably be a number of larger buildings in here, which we can sort of like, if we don't have a reason to branch from it, we can sort of keep with this general idea, I guess. Where we have, what would those buildings look like? I'm trying to imagine like of not just general buildings. Do I have any good, let's see. Let's say we'll have little buildings here with their own like gates, sort of. Have you watched / read any of Neil Oliver's docs or books? He also has a podcast. That doesn't ring a bell. Not to say that I haven't, but it does not immediately ring a bell for me. Let's say, say our roofs look like that just for ease of drawing for a minute. I think we could have, probably would actually meet up in the middle there. Maybe we have like a little like inner courtyard building there. See, those buildings in the inner core could be used by priests to prepare for the ceremonies. I would make them quite bland so as not to steal focus from the main temple. Yeah, I think that makes sense. He goes very in depth into the history and culture during time of Stonehenge, Iron Age, and more. He's a mega expert on the history of the British Isles, and he has the most soothing voice. I probably have watched something from him then. Where do I have a pen? Do I like literally not even have a pen? Let me text my husband so that I can make sure he remembers. Neil Okay. I will look into that later. Because that could be really interesting. Yes, so we'll keep with that sort of style of building there. Maybe we'll add something longer over here. Something like that. Oops. I'm failing miserably right now. Highly suggest for all. Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds pretty cool. I'll have to look into that. I do love watching like general like history shows and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of the like National Geographic ones I watch, stuff like that. A cloister. Yeah, I feel like we would have like that sort of a thing going on in here, you know? Have not sure how I would indicate that there's like a wall here. Or honestly, wow, why did I do this in so many separate lines? Okay. I bet maybe the wall is more like that. Love a good monastery. Yeah, there's some definite monastery vibes here that we'd have. So yeah, so we'll have that. I love Aerial America for geography and inspiration. Okay, I'll have to look into that one too. Okay, so I'm trying to think of what other buildings I'd want to have here. Like, I feel like there'll be pathways and some level of like nature and like stuff like that in here because again, like it is a very nature-focused magic system. Monastery and religious library. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like yeah. Okay, let's try. Ooh, a fountain. Yes. There would absolutely be like an epic fountain. When this used to be used, this area would probably over here be the most like prepared for external use. So I'm thinking maybe over here we would incorporate some kind of fountain, you know. And this would be where like you'd have like if the ruler of the kingdom was coming over or something like that, they would be over in this area and this region of it would be very much kept to like members of the secret society. And so I think that what we'd see is more likely to be like more natural-ish vibes, so like maybe more pond types of fountains. And also there'd be like a lot of water potentially running down from the top of the hill plateau region that could be diverted. So maybe we'll have some form of like ponds that could be walked around and then various trees and stuff to give it a good feel. Although
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Aubrey. I thought I locked that door.
I got in.
I know you got in because I didn't lock it. Okay. Baby girl. Hey.
Found you.
I don't want you on my live stream, baby girl. We're protecting your privacy. Also, you're gonna pull up. Okay?
Mommy, I want to go in there.
You can't, baby girl. I'm gonna need.
Mommy's in her meeting.
I forgot to lock the door.
It was all.
Upstairs.
Sorry about that, everybody. I try to keep them out of like off camera as much as possible. Yeah, I checked the lock. It's locked now.
It wasn't.
Oh,
I fixed it.
thank you.
That's what I'm here for.
You're the best.
I tried.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to keep them from, I don't know, being on screen for their own privacy purposes. But yes, okay. So I feel like we'd have some sort of like semi-organic type shape here around the main entrance, you know? Such a nice family. Thank you, thank you. A large incense burning cauldron. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe something like that. We'll just give it some, you know, like that. Some little ponds. There'll be some paths and some trees and stuff around there. And we'll keep, yeah. And I think we'll just have this part will probably mostly just be a straight wall. Oh, that's true. We might have some like cool statues in here. I'm trying to think of where we'll think of the statues, but there should definitely be some statues. Some sort of wall there. And then I think we'll want a second layer gate. We'll put it right here. Banners. Could be banners. Yeah, we can get super fancy with this. This kind of thing. We'll do that for now. Then have our little walls around here. And we'll probably draw over the bottom of these with other buildings, but for now, that's fine. So let's even curve this a little bit. Just to, oops. Yeah, something like that. And then the old restricted entrance would have been a big gate way back when. Although, honestly, it would have been, so it's kind of one of those weird situations where it's a sort of a secret society, but they know it's there. And they probably would know who was in it. It's just everything about it would be a secret. So I'm not sure how, like this complex is not, like, they would not be trying to hide it. Like, you would see the tops of the temple and stuff. So, like, I don't think it would be, like, necessarily a bad thing for it to have a big gate at the front. It just would have been, like, very, very restricted who could actually enter it, I think. So we probably want some form of, like, maybe we'll do it over here. Do they provide external services? So back then, they kind of didn't. It was all like, they would have provided like some external services in terms of rituals that they performed for, like, making sure that the weather and the climate and like the rain and like everything was what the society needed it to be for keeping the spirits happy, because the spirits would have been what kept the weather from being like overly destructive or having droughts or stuff like that. And then they would have done smaller scale things, but people wouldn't have known necessarily what they did to an extent. Like, that would have been mostly like higher levels of the government would have understood. So it wouldn't have been of something where like external people would have come in. Yeah, maybe some sort of communication system. They don't elect the ruler. It would have been the spirits that did it, but open secret group where members are known but not what is going on exactly sounds like a Masonic lodge. Yeah, maybe that sort of a vibe. How old is the complex? So the complex itself is probably like 600 or 700 years to like 1,000 years old. And it will not have been, other than like this small section over here, which is still sort of in use. And that would just be like in recent times. It was mostly just maintained for cultural significance reasons for the last like 400 years or whatever it was. I'd have to look at my exact timeline, but like it is very old. And so like different sections might have been added on at different times, but it all would have been a really long time ago. So like maybe there would have been like a slightly different layout structure of like this back section or this front section than what was in the back area. Could all be possible, but let's do a large sort of like whatever. Sort of like a large gate that would have good morning. So maybe we would have like a 2-layer gate kind of thing. And then this would have been like guardhouses on the inside to some extent. Maybe. Yeah, something like that I feel like would have made sense. And then we'll kind of... Well, let's wait to add the walls until we add each section. Let's try and get that idea in here. So let's do this. This back section was probably the first one to be built. So then the next section would probably be at the point that they wanted more, which just probably would be a door back there. But they would probably want more like dormitories, more workspaces, something like that. So we can kind of try and pull maybe something like this. This wall would be shorter. We'll have our little top bits of our wall. And then back here, will the soldiers be a religious division of soldiers, or would they be like royal guards assigned to the temples? They probably would have had their own division of soldiers or guards that would have been stationed here at the time. So they would probably have their own barracks. Like it would have been very much like in a monastery where everyone would be sort of self-contained. It would be sort of that vibe, even though it is in the middle of the city. So let's do... Actually, you know what we're going to do? Let's say that way back when, like way back when we had the first start of our city, which let me pop over to real quick. So this radial center, which used to be our little village center, maybe where this temple complex now is, there used to be the little fort sort of building there that was, you know, the little administrative center at the time, and then that was taken over and eventually developed into the secret society complex, everything. So let's add over here a old sort of keep feeling. So let me think. These are going to mostly be these like complex style things. So we'll probably want... Maybe what we'll do... Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Let's try something... Start here. Something like this. I'm getting National Treasure Knights of the Masonic Temple vibes, maybe. Yeah. So then the top, let's do something like this, but where we then have... Do the high priests live in this ultra secret temple? They would have. Yes, they would have lived back here. Full time. I'm getting a bit of a Vatican vibe. Honestly, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's valid. Yeah, I think that's valid. There would be some of that. Let's do... Let's see, there would be... a little bit of a courtyard openness in there. Something like that maybe would have been the old temple type of building. So they would have had probably some smaller buildings of a similar-ish style around them, most likely. Be like anything of that kind of vibe, like that Vatican, that secret society vibe, like all of that I think is very what we'd kind of see here to an extent. Maybe I should look up a Vatican map just to kind of see what sort of buildings they had. We'll say would have been some buildings over here. And then they probably would have had like a little section with like gardens. So let's add like, well, like a little mini wall here. And then maybe back there they had like gardens of some form, you know, like some little for feeding the people. Maybe some more space up here. For various crops and stuff, and maybe areas for animals to an extent as well. So they would have had like stables and everything like that. So we'll say, you know, there's some little buildings back here for that purpose. You know, some like little pens. I don't know. Something like that. Sovereign Military Order of Malta. Let's see. Let's pull up. See, let me find something better. Okay. Oh, wow. That's intense. I've been to the Vatican, but I definitely did not remember how, like, intense it is. Okay. Not the Graham Hancock version, though. Yeah. Okay. So let's do... I think this is probably relatively okay for this part to start. You know, we'll just have some, like, various buildings. There probably would have been some more buildings along here. You know, because this would have been pretty self-sufficient. Ooh, a save. Good call. Good call. Yeah. So let's just say we have various buildings, various paths and stuff in there, and this would have been like the old. So let's do one more building here. Like the old fortress place. Yeah. which they would have like, you know, rebuilt and touched up part of it. So we have that section. So then let's say that was where we started, and then we have this big temple, and then they'd probably want more of an administrative center of some form, something that's a bit more like full of buildings. Maybe that would be this right side over here that they would have built. Is this a different perspective of the same map you worked on yesterday? Sort of. What we're doing, let me go to the other map. We're doing this bit right there, but we're doing it actually close up, figuring out the layout, getting a different perspective so we get the vibes of it. Yeah, exactly. We're going to need lots of dormitories. I'm going to save again. Lots of dormitories for all the people that would live there. So we'll probably have a dormitory section and an administrative section. So let's do, I feel like the far right would be more administrative, and maybe dormitories would have actually been built on over here. So let's say we like build out our wall, you know, sort of like this, I guess. Let me just, our little poppy dudes that we'll draw when we do the actual version of this map. Because again, this is all the draft part. We would have dormitories in here, which would largely, I think we're going to do this in slightly less of an organic style. And I think these would be a little bit more utilitarian style buildings. The zoom from world map to regional to city to temple would be pretty neat. Maybe a building is next. Yeah, I mean, depending on what we work on, I've done the mansion layout. If you all saw that speed build, that's in this world. It's just not in the city. But yeah, we could always do something like that. Yeah, like row house style, or just like straight up like, yeah, I think something like that. So let's do, these would be a little bit larger. Start there. Maybe that's like 1 story. Or honestly, that could be 2 stories. Then, you know, maybe we have something like that. Maybe we have another building over here. Do our little, you know, another building there. I feel like this would have actually like backed up a little bit more to the wall itself. Let me see if I can move it like there-ish. Yeah, like that sort of a thing. And then we'd have probably like here. Another set. Yes, we will definitely add in trees. And they'll be like sort of like a courtyard in the middle, I think. Maybe there'll be like a pond or a fountain or something just for the vibes, which we can like, maybe over here is a little pond. These buildings give me a Germanic vibe, the stereotypical German white buildings with the black wood supports. Yeah, I mean, they would actually probably be semi-similar to that, based off the architectural time. They probably would have been a bit darker in color. So maybe like almost like a reverse of that sort of. But here, let's. Yeah, so maybe we have something like this. And one over here. Give it a full sort of vibe. Hulls Halsfachwerk? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I'm not sure yet. I need to go back. I know what the newer architecture would look more like that because it's a little more simple and streamlined. These buildings probably would have more like decorative elements. To an extent, like they would have a little bit of that Gothic influence, but like it's kind of a complicated architectural style because I have trouble realizing what it looks like. But let's say we have some ponds there, which a ton of standing water might not have been the best, but we'll say there's connected bits and it's like it drains through, you know? So let's say we have that. That's some big dormitories. Maybe we would have a little section that's more for like some wealthier people. So like you have the dormitories there, but maybe we have a couple like nicer style houses or style these would probably be not full indoor plumbing because again these buildings would be very old. So probably some form of like public outhouses of forms, which like would probably be like depends if they have like a little bit of a stream that's like coming through here. You know, we could always say that on this end there's like a little, you know, some sort of building or facility in various places for it. But yeah. Let's do, where are they storing firewood? There'll probably be have little like storage type buildings around that I can place like around the edges in here where thank you. Oh, an appetizer. There's gonna be a main course. Ooh, pot stickers. I'm excited. Uber Eats has brought me mac and cheese, which is nice. He thinks it's very funny that we were calling him Uber Eats yesterday. Okay. Exactly. Uber Eats. Okay. Let's do we'll have some sort of gate there. We'll probably have some form of whatever building over here. It's not Panera, unfortunately. It's just box mac and cheese, and then he's making freezer pot stickers because I really like pot stickers. I'll have to tip him later. He's earned a lot of tips this weekend. So let's do a little bit of oh, is there a central dining hall in the dormitories or do the clergy eat somewhere else? I think we'll probably want to do some sort of hall for that, like maybe down in this area here. For common dining areas, or maybe one of those buildings would be some form of like dining hall, but we'll add in a whole little like grouping of buildings down there that will kind of all of that sort of not like residential, but like not administrative, not residential, but like, you know, dining halls, breweries, any of that sort of type of things. No, you're right. Like a lot of monasteries brewed, a lot of them kept like bees and like had like little orchards and like they did all sorts of stuff in order to earn money and support themselves and everything. And also, especially in Europe, I believe making ale was very good for providing like calories and water and all that stuff. So they drank a lot of ale. Not super high. Yeah, apiaries. I don't know about rice beer, but you can definitely have rice wine. And there would still be some levels of like wheat and like barley and that sort of stuff here. Yeah. Yeah, I do think that's a really interesting part of the Vatican. Mead, ale, wine, yeah, there'd be mead, all that sort of stuff. I don't know how much they would have that here because this, even though it is very isolated and self-sufficient, I would still imagine them importing goods. So like obviously this area would have like some of the gardens and stuff for the castle or the keep or whatever. But for the most part, they weren't necessarily growing and making all of their own food because there always was either a village or then a city here once this became an actual proper temple. So they probably imported more goods than like your traditional monastery would have, which tended to be very isolated, away from society, whereas this again is in the middle of a city. And at the point that it's used for this purpose would have mostly been in the middle of a city or large town. So I don't think we need to worry about having like too much brewing and all of that sort of stuff. Let's see. Where's all the rum gone? I would like to know. I actually was rewatching all of those videos recently. Fun fact of the day, monks were allotted half a liter of wine per day. Rice alcohols, sake and soju, yeah. Does the city have an export? So the city itself would have an export, but the temple here probably wouldn't because they would probably get some level of tribute from the city itself, like the rulers of the city, for what they do. Sort of like some of the taxes just come straight here in forms of like food and goods and money and all of that stuff. Obviously not necessarily modernly, but because the use is very different in the current day. Let's do... Okay. Yes. So let's finish adding this like fancier area. Should have our little tiny wall decor toppers. Probably be like 2 gates. So these would definitely be like, this is going to be your most elite class. The people that were the actual like witches of the temples, like the members of the secret society would have been your elites of the time. Obviously, they would be people working there, and like in the lower levels of the society that would be like, obviously, like there's going to be like a hierarchy, but at the top, like these are probably the most powerful, richest people that were probably to an extent controlling the government, and all of that. Okay, then yeah. So it's less Benedictine monastery and more of a Dominican style monastery then. Although again, not like quite a monastery, but yeah. Okay, so let's add some buildings here. For the maybe some of the richer inhabitants, the higher levels, like the very, very top level people. Maybe we'll have something like that. Where they'd have their own little, maybe they even have their own little pond. Very cute. You know, something like that. Their own little buildings for support. And then maybe we have another one here. Oh, it's a bit weird looking. We'll go with it. Something like that. The very top could have something equivalent to our single family house with servants, etc. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we'll, say we're looking at that, right? That's sort of what that area is. And honestly, actually, maybe this even goes, if these are your like top leadership areas, maybe you even have a straight up like leading right up to that main temple door. Because I imagine to an extent they would have felt the restrictions of the space depending on how large they grew. Say there's a pond there. Yeah. So we'll have that, and then we'll add some more administrative-y buildings. Let's just do like actually let's do a wall here and another building here, which would have maybe been more used for storage of things or some variety of like dining halls, like communal spaces. Let's add another one for that. Back here, the administrative buildings in the in-use area. Yeah, we'll have to go back around to that, I think. Which I would rename to public area. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say public because this was never public, but this was like open to outsiders. But yeah, let's trying to think what they would want. Probably the main entrance for when they entered it would have been super fancy. Maybe have some more gardens out there. But let's say, yeah, let's move over here to where we have this connection to the Google Doc link. I can post that. Share, copy, paste. Where was I? There we go. Okay, yeah. So this would have been where they would have come over from the administrative complex and the palace, the imperial complex. So we would again probably have a pretty fancy entrance over here. Going with our stuff there. This would have been around for quite a while. And then let's make this look. I'm trying to think if they would have any interest in defending it. I don't think they would have anything like that, where they'd be worried about that. Other than maybe if that's the newest parts and they wanted to make sure it was more defensible, we could add some level of like walls that kind of went back a little bit, had some pieces jutting out for various protective purposes, maybe. Let's say over here. Now we would have something like that, maybe. We'll build that in. But something like that. Yeah. They would have probably some defensive things, which maybe we'll build something more over there. Because I feel like those would have been built once this is more populated and they would need to have more, safety and stuff. But so this is sort of where we have like these hills. This is like, again, where like, you're going to have all these like cliffside bits over here. And this would kind of be that main path. I'm just going to do this, but that's like that main path over into the administrative center, which actually honestly would probably have its own wall over there. And let's see, we'll probably have some sort of guard facility here of some form. Over there, maybe we're like, you would have like stables or something back here. I don't know. Something, right? And then this is where we'd have a lot of the administrative, more like public areas. So we might have not like they're not gonna have like churches or anything like that. Let's think. Yeah, we have our fountain. I feel like we'd have a building where that would be like a important facility for meeting with like outsiders. So maybe they would replicate a bit that temple that would have been built, maybe not too far in the past, but something like that that was more open to you know, outsiders. So, the rulership and all of that. So maybe we'd have, let's see. Well, first let's move our fountain a little bit to over like here, maybe. Let's deselect that. And then where do I have like all the crazy notes? Yeah, let's keep that commented out for now because I don't think we need it at the moment. Yeah. And then we'd want maybe, so it has that kind of round shape. So maybe they try and keep the round shape to an extent. It'd be, oops, smaller. So more like that size. Let's say they did something like this. Something with, and then maybe the whole thing itself is a little bit more. Let's see, like here, where they would have the big open windows, but it would be more like open at the top, whatever. And then they just have like smaller versions of it down there. And then, maybe we're looking at some extension bits off of that. And then at the top, trying to think of what would like fit in more with like, maybe they would just have like another little story here with its own like fence bit so that you could view around the area. Little crenellation sort of to match the walls that they would have had. Something like that, right? Which could then have, yeah, something like that. I feel like that looks kind of nice, right? And then we could even add a little bit of another building over here. Maybe it would even go back behind this a little bit. Like a little like inner courtyard for the building that would be like extra fancy. you know, and it'd be like nice and stuff. So then we'll want to build maybe some like administrative, like bigger administrative buildings over here. Thank you. I have pot stickers, which is fabulous. I'm trying to think if like the administrative buildings would be like significantly bigger. I feel like they would have been in a style sort of similar to how they did the dormitories, because I feel like those sorts of expansions might have happened similar-ish time frame. So we could maybe add something like that over there. And then I also think we need to like leave some room for greenery and like gardens and like, you know, lawns of various forms. Because like, again, it is a very like nature kind of focused thing. So I think that would make sense to do. That's good. Yeah, I think that would make sense, especially back here in this like front corner. I feel like we would definitely have some various like pathways and trees and stuff like that. Let's do. It's kind of weird looking. And that's a little taller. Something like that. And then, you know, this is more of like that sort of a vibe. Maybe they would even have some little trees growing up here. Little gardens or something. I don't know. That's probably dumb, but like, who knows? I feel like there's be an extent of which they're like, the aesthetics though. The reputation of seeing us from the city. Like you see all these trees piling over the tops of the walls a little bit. I feel like that could be something they'd be intentional about trying to do, you know, maybe. Okay, so let's do some more administrative buildings. Let's just do a good one up here. Should be fine. Let's just do like, well, this is closed off as well. You know, we'll have to make sure that we have some stairs and various things leading up to that. So although that might be a little small scale for this, but like, you know, maybe there's some stairs getting up there onto the walls. You'd probably have some form of like, I don't know, something here for getting up there and like being able to see what's going over there. Ooh, save. Good call. Good call. So let's do that. Trying to think of what else. I feel like the rest of that could be pretty open. Add some sort of like something. But maybe a little bit extra fancy of some form over here. I don't know. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, exactly. Just like random paths and like greenery and gardens and stuff, like kind of filling in all the blanks, all the blank space. Mm-hmm. So then, how will this connect? Probably. We'll say they maybe don't need another thing over there. Although, no, we'll add one for symmetry because these are, you know, some of the richer people in the city. They can have their fancy, unnecessary walls. Or their battlements or whatever, even in the places where they're not super necessary. And this will all be like, you know, and then like cliff-ish. And then, they would have had a stairs there. This would probably all be blocked off at this point, this like front gate. We'll say they hadn't built defenses over on this side for some reason or another. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what structure I want the administrative buildings to be. Oh my goodness. I feel like I want it to be more like rigid looking, like a little bit less organic feeling. Hmm. Let's say there's like a wall here. Just for the purpose of like keeping people out. And then we can we'll add like a diagonal building of some form. Something there. And then maybe we do some complexes that are a little bit more structured looking. Look at the size of these buildings over there. Like a little bit bigger. Something like that. Get another building. Oh, right there. Wow. Just pretend I can like draw today. Just pretend. One of your trees, the one to the right of the bottom gate, looks like Snoopy to me. Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, it kind of does, doesn't it? That's great. See, there's a little bit of it's a little shorter, maybe. The Snoopy. Yeah. So let's say we have that sort of area. Let me move this. I'm going to switch back to sitting real quick, everybody, because I'm getting tired of standing. So bear with me for just a moment while I... Oop. Just gotta knock my camera over. See. Oop. There we go. Oh. Oh gosh. We have wine now. We're gonna have a blast. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. So let's think. I'm not sure how much of this area I want to fill up, to be honest. It is wine 30. Yep. We opened one of our fancy bottles of wine last night. Yes, wine and world building. um yes, I did a side tangent, but like my Bob Ross thing, I did a Bob Ross paint and sip with my friends where we just drank a ton of wine and painted Bob Ross paintings, and it was absolutely glorious. When I was in college, we had wine Wednesdays. Brilliant. I enjoy wine. I've gotten into being able to enjoy red wine. I can't drink very much of it at a time, mostly just because, like, I don't know. I like to kind of savor the taste of it versus, like, I'm incapable of remembering that I have alcohol long enough to actually get drunk, like, literally ever, which is probably good for my liver, but I'm like a sipper kind of drinker. Okay, so let's see. Okay, yeah. Let's add like another little complex just right in here. And then what I think I want to do is add in some really rough pathing and like greenery just to give us an idea of where we might want to add in more other things. The wine woke up the chat. Yeah. See where we might want to add some other buildings, see if we have anything that we think that we're like really missing. But for now, let's go through and add in maybe like another similar-esque sort of cluster of buildings here. Something very uniform feeling. Wow, I cannot draw straight lines. I think it's because I've just been doing this so long. Like between today and yesterday, I'm like, what is a straight line? How do angles work? What is happening here? I don't even know. I truly don't even know. Let's see, let's go there. Let's do a little bit of wall. Bordeaux has entered the chat. This is unfortunately not a Bordeaux. I have literally no idea what it is, though. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. It's probably like a blend with like Merlot or something because we tend to drink a lot of Merlot. But I don't know. Let's do another. Oh my gosh, this is such trash. Okay, here we go. Get some building in there. Boom, boom. And then you would have all our little, you know, our little window friends. I don't know. And then maybe let's do something a little weird. What would be like a little weird? Let's do, okay. We're only going to be a little weird. Let's do this. Look at us being weird. I'm not doing the exact same thing super tediously for forever. Wine names make great character names too. True. True. I feel like that's a little different looking. You know? Boop, boop. Merlot, Chardonnay, Bordeaux. I could see it. It sounds like YA fantasy character's name. Master of Coins. Oh my gosh. That's brilliant. Okay, let's go with here. I'm gonna add below this, and we will label it. There we go. This is going to be our draft. We'll call it like our landscaping. It's going to be hard and soft landscaping. Oh my god. Okay, there you go. So let me go in and go over to our other map. I wonder if I can like remember what exactly this color is. I wish I could like copy it from here. I don't think I can do that, but that's like yellow. It's like up there. Oh no, I do have it. Okay, sweet. Brilliant. We kept it. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Is this? We'll make it a little bit bigger than that. There. And let's just play some like rough pathing just to kind of get an idea of how like all the paths would have worked in this. Like obviously this is all pathing going into here. Here. There probably would be some sort of, you know, something like that. There's something going around the building. Something like that. And then we'll probably have some form of like pathing around our pretty little ponds. Sadly, I don't have wine, but I have Coronas and limes for the tropical theme. There you go. There you go. I think it's great. It's, I will not remind everyone, or actually I am going to remind everyone that it is 12:37 here. Oh gosh, it's fine. It's one of those days. We've had we won't get into it, but it's been a week here. The level of like general sanity is much lower than it usually is. I will just say that. We'll like do something like that. Pathing there. Something like that. You're an adult. You can eat cake for breakfast and have wine whenever you want. True. True. Very true. Okay, so let's see. Probably something like that. Probably have some sort of general like pathing around the place just for funsies. Because why not? Something like this. 6:30 in my neck of the woods. There you go. That's the neck of the woods that we're embracing here. That's what we're doing. Okay. Something like, I feel like something like that has like a weird feel. We'll even add a little loop there just to make it a little bit more organic feeling. And then I'm trying to think of whether or not there would be like a gate on the side too. I'm not sure. But let's say there's like a little thing in there. Something, you know, something like that, maybe. Maybe there's like even a path there. Oh, save. Good call. There we go. Hello. I love you too, bud. You want to say something? Okay, what do you want to say? No, the door's locked, buddy. You can't get in here. Can you say it really loud? Or was that just an excuse to come jump on my love sack?
I super love you.
I super love you too. And you want to jump on the love sack. Yeah, I know, buddy. You're going to have to wait until later, okay? Okay. That's the 5-year-old, if you were curious. That's my son. Okay, so back to adding some various roads in here. I feel like something like that kind of makes sense. And then maybe, you know, we have our little buildings coming around the fronts here. Coming around there. Probably a gate there, probably a gate right there. Probably something back there that's pretty. I make an adult hot apple cider and an adult hot chocolate. Honestly, hot cocoa is just always the best. I have never actually had hot cocoa with alcohol in it. I feel like I wouldn't like it. I probably would like it, but I just like I have very fond childhood memories of drinking hot cocoa. And so like you can't add alcohol to like a memory from when you're like 8, you know? Like that's just that would be weird for my brain. Pepsi and chocolate. What? That's a thing? That freaks me out. That freaks me out a lot. I don't know how I feel about that. Actually, no, that's a lie. I know exactly how I feel about that, and I don't like it. I assume it's like weird but good if you're like can get past the weirdness of it. Oh, not together. Okay, I was gonna say, I was like, that seems really weird. Okay. Okay. Do they have any particular important symbolism or beliefs? I mean, they definitely do. But I'm not sure. So like there's a level of elementalness. If I think like air would be the most important element for them. Let me actually there. Would be the most significant because that's like the spirits are sort of like wind spirits. So in a way they sort of worship the wind and the wind's gods, if that sort of makes sense. But it's like it's mostly like I don't know. The religion themselves, there's ones that lean more into like the harmony with nature focus, so like having a lot of organic shapes, pulling that in. Like some of them were like similar to Gothic architecture, but like very organic, very like, and then having lots of greenery everywhere. That all ties into that. And then uh on the other side of it, it's just more based off like the development of society and collaboration between peoples. So like that one, they might have more symbols and stuff in, but like this is more the secret society specifically. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had their own symbols that was like part of the secret society. They have created their own like code language and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had something specific for them. I don't know what to tell you, cute Jameis. I don't know what to tell you. But let's see, this would have been a path. We'll say this would have been like the biggest path coming up through here. Their secret language is like pretty intense, if I must say. Let's see, we'll do like or like a thing like that. And then we'll do something there. Like that. This will connect into something. What era vibe are you going for in this world? So the current time period is going to be more like pre-Renaissance sort of time period, but this temple is hundreds of years old. So think like maybe somewhere in like the early to middle ages, low middle ages, middle of the Middle Ages. Probably not high Middle Ages, kind of equivalent, but that sort of a thing. But also slightly less European and slightly more like East Asian, sort of. It's kind of what we're going for. So let's see. So this was our road. Comes in here. We have various stuff like that. Can walk around our pretty little fountain. Like little things like that. Is the building density different by design, or did it just happen? The ultra secret dormitories are concentrated in a single sector of the compound with lots of free space available. Yeah, so I think it would have been based off how it was built up. Like this section back here would have been first. And then probably they would have added on maybe the dormitories next, or some like early version of the temple first, probably. And then they would have needed to add more people. So they added this little dormitory section. And then they might have added this administrative section. So I think that they would have been less focused about the aesthetic side and having like lots of place inside for nature until later on, when like the city around them has grown up more and they're less surrounded by that outside of this area. And also maybe originally like they just lived in the city or something like that. So yeah, I think that it's intentionally a little bit more clustered over there. We can do some like fun shapes maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to just like look at random maps to like have some idea of what we want to do here. If we do that and then did like, let's see. I feel like we need less weird shapes here. From there. I feel like this looks kind of weird at the moment. Perhaps a pond in that eye-shaped road network? Ooh, that's a good idea. Madeline for next city planner. Oh, probably not. I'm not very good at even like city skylines. I'm atrocious. I do enjoy that game, but I'm atrocious. I feel like there'll be some sort of buildings in here. I just don't know what yet. But yeah, let's go. It's like, you know, add some sort of cool pond thing there. We'll make our fountain blue. Let's make our little pond guys blue over here. Do that. Did I have any other like little things over there at the moment? Susan Trees. Using map editor in CS2 for terrain building and height map export. Interesting. Oh, time for a save. Good call. I'm so bad at that. Oh, just to I'm gonna need to get some maps set up when we get around to let's do some like lots of trees in here before the next stream, because we're not going to be working on my maps. We're going to be working on my friends' maps. I don't know if there's an autosave. There probably is, but then you can't go back the same. you know? Like, I feel like once you've saved it, you can't do undo. And then if you get stuck in it in the wrong spot, it's kind of like, meh, you know? Let's do, like, you know, maybe there's some green. Maybe there's just some general lawns over there. So then the question will be, because I'm definitely probably only going to finish this like first rough draft of this place before the end of the stream. So then I will have to decide if afterwards we're going to go back to the city map or if I'm going to try to make this pretty. Like create the actual final version of this map. I think it might depend on whether or not Ross is able to join us, because if he's able to join us, I think it'll be a little bit easier for me to just focus on like drawing tiny little squares on our city map and going back to that versus trying to make like architectural design decisions while we're chatting, you know? Like I feel like that would just be more fun. But if anyone has any thoughts for me to consider for that, just let me know and we can, you know, factor that in. But yeah, that's more green stuff. I mean, that kind of looks kind of weird, but, you know. If Ross can join, then do city. If he can't, do the temple. I think that's pretty valid. Yeah. I think that's probably a good plan. Ross commenting on the layout and logic of the secret compound could be interesting. That's true. We could pop him over here first and see what he thinks. Or see what he would most want to talk to. Could also be a part of it, you know? Like if he's like, please don't make me look at the inside of a weird temple thing, like don't make me do it, then we won't. Some greens here. You know. Get some green stuff for the win. That I don't know about in there, but you know, in here we'll have lots of like I feel like just like massive amounts of little like forests, and they definitely wouldn't have like nice, pretty manicured lawns, but line the main path with trees in the empty courtyard. Oh yeah, we could do something like, you know, fancy like that. Just to kind of give it something going on, you know? Like we'll add something, but like what kind of government will this city have? So it is very similar to Joseon Dynasty, where they have a king or emperor, but there's a lot of strong influence on them from the council, so slightly less centralized. And the council is ruled by some of the like leading families, and so they're on the council, and like you kind of have to have enough support from the council in order to be successful as king and not be like ousted in some form or another. And there's a very extensive like bureaucratic administration with it as well. So that's sort of the vibe, but that's not what it would have. I mean, it would have been sort of like that in the time when this was built, but a little bit different. Do something like that, just so that it like looks like a little something in case we don't come back to this. I feel like that could be interesting. Ooh, our little trees here on our little weird. Oh wait, we can't forget Snoopy. There we go. Brilliant. Are you also using architectural inspiration from Southeast Asia? I am using some, yes. There's some inspiration from like East and Southeast Asia. There's pulling in some of the layouts of some various like Indian dynasties and caliphates down in there that I've looked at. Just like a lot of different cultures that were built up in areas with a lot of like in very warm climates, like trying to understand how they handled keeping things cool and how they like, you know, oriented and shaped their buildings in order to like keep it cool. But then also pulling in a little bit more of the like academic Gothic vibes in terms of like the styling side of it. Oh, Snoopy's gone. I mean, he's not like gone. We can like, you know, we'll do that. We'll do that. I think that'll make everyone happy. Undo Snoopy. Leave him as an Easter egg. He was too young. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But what was I even talking about? I've completely forgotten. I'm not sure. I will send a message over to Ross here in a little bit because I think he was planning on being roughly free around this time of day and see what he's planning on doing. And then I'll probably start getting stuff set up with my friend, which will be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll like step back through the cheat sheet I have with like the city planning stuff, and we're going to start with like she has some weird things she wants to do. She has like a magical mountain that she wants to just appear for like there's like a magic thing. I don't know what it is, but there's a magic mountain that's just going to come out of the ground, and she wants to consider some of the consequences of that and look at like, okay, we need to pick an area where that would be notable and think about how that would change things and where could we have set up the capitals and, you know, whatever the city that she's going to be using so that doesn't get totally and utterly destroyed. Like there's going to be some shenanigans like that. Snoopy deity statue in jade. Oh my gosh, that would be great. Ooh, Magic Mountain I'm game. Yes, it is going to be fun. We are going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be less like just sitting here and drawing stuff and more like she's sent me all of her maps. I'm going to pull them all in. We're going to step through them and be like, okay, like where on this global map would it make sense for her society to be based off? She has like a list of requirements. Okay, so now like in this regional area, can we create like a really rough sketch of like maybe where it would be where we could have this magic mountain and like we're going to be going through it like that, and it's going to be an absolute blast. And I'm excited. Where is yeah, because I was talking about some of the inspirations. I think I have. They're not going to be super great quality, but some of the like inspo pictures I have, if you can see this like at all, for things. The better one. Some of this. I don't know if you can see this literally at all. That's sort of been the vibes a little bit, but oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes. Let me finish with a couple little details on this, and then I'm probably going to end this stream. Yeah, because the other one starts an hour from now, and I'm going to need a good bit of time because I didn't do all the prep I was going to do in getting everything pulled up into a document first, and like I haven't done like a test stream with her yet, so we'll have to go in and do all of that. I wish I had more IRL friends who are into this. Most of my friends look at me as if I have two heads. Honestly, most of mine do too. Phil, who's going to be joining us, she is. I actually met her on Twitter back when it was called Twitter. We did the same contest together for trying to find like a mentors, like I think author mentor match. I think that's where I met her, where we were both in the same group that's was in that we ended up setting a Discord for doing critiques. We were doing critique swaps for like a couple years, and it's still called Twitter. Yes. Yeah, I do not have a X account at all. Absolutely not. Yeah, most of my cousins are fixated into world building like I am. I'm a lone wolf in my hobby too. Yeah. I don't know anyone in person who does anything even remotely like this. I don't even know anyone in person who like I'm friends with that is a writer either. Like at some point I think it'd be like my dream to have a friend who is like a writer world builder where we could like be like, "Hey, let's hang out but not talk to each other at all." And just like what's that like word that's like very big for like neurodivergent, like ADHD, I think even body doubling, where we could just body double and like do our stuff and be like, let's go to a cafe and ignore each other and draw our maps or write or something. Like that would be the best. But yes, okay, hold on. Let me add. Oh, now are you being? Oh, it's freezing. This is my sign to. Okay, yeah, we'll call it there. Yeah, just to coexist and work on stuff. It does. It sounds so nice. Like that would literally be the dream if I could just like invite someone over and be like, okay, every Monday night you're gonna come over and we're gonna work on our stuff and like we can talk about it, but like otherwise we're just gonna like do our own stuff and like that would be the best thing ever. Yeah, have a nice cuppa. Let's start a convention. Honestly, that would be awesome. I keep trying to go to like various writers conventions and stuff, but they don't have, I don't think there are world builder conventions. Like, I think we joked once in the Discord that we should, in like Iceland or something, we should have like a world building convention where everyone comes and stays somewhere for 2 weeks and works on like world building stuff. And I could probably convince like some other people to participate with us. One day maybe we'll make something like that happen. Oh, that's really cool. A game developer? Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's very cool. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, economics. Oh, that's nice. The economics of fantasy worlds. I'm not super great with economics yet. It's not something I've spent a ton of time on, but okay, yes. I think this gives us a pretty good rough idea of like I can use this for my writing even if I don't have time to make a fancy version for a little while. So I am okay if this is as far as we get with this today. Depending on what we do later. Let me save. Yeah. Okay. So we have this, and honestly, it's not too different from this. I don't even know if I'll go back in and tweak it. It sort of gives the vibes of what we're going for. But yes. Yes. I will see you all at 2 my time, so in 1 hour, just under 1 hour, and we will work on some other maps, and hopefully around then I will know if Ross is going to join us for the last stream. Yes, it's a very productive weekend. That was the idea. I needed it. I needed the productive weekend. Thank you everybody for joining so far. This has been, honestly, I kind of expected like there to maybe be 1 or 2 people popping in every now and then to this. Like I didn't expect there to actually be people live this whole time I was doing this, and there has been, and it's been really fun and wonderful, and I've been enjoying it. And streaming normally makes me super anxious, but I don't know, it's just been super chill. Yeah, thank you everybody. Yes, so I will see you all back here at 2 if you're available, and we will have some fun Magical Mountain shenanigans. Yeah, until later.